Professor Ron, who would come in and determine a decedent's age, their sex, their ethnicity, and their stature?
Me.
Okay. And that title is?
Forensic anthropologist.
Okay.
That is what I specialized in. I have my master's and my bachelor's in physical anthropology. Age, sex, race, and stature. We say race, now we say ethnicity. God, how to break it down. The simplest way to do it is we have algorithms we take measurements. That's the easiest way. There's metric and non-metric ways of determining age, sex, race, and stature. I don't want to bore you with all the details of this, but there are a few people that you want to be involved with for a few reasons. Forensic anthropologists will tell you exactly what you asked. A forensic archaeologist will help you dig up the remains so that we can get to the lab and the forensic anthropologist can do what we do. I'm a lab monkey. I did my work at UC Santa Cruz in the labs. That's where I got my feet wet, so to speak. Sometimes you'll also hear about forensic entomologists because we can tell time of death, which is another story entirely. And forensic entomologists will get involved. The three of them work very, very closely together. A medical examiner may have a forensic, or will probably have a forensic examiner, anthropologist on call, maybe even on their team. Bones, love Kathy Reichs. She's the best forensic anthropologist in the world right now. She wrote and created Bones based off of her books. We don't walk in and we're lucky if we have a corner, let alone, touch screens and an entire staff and all that stuff. I mean, maybe in Canada, but not here in the States. It's not funded that much. And to tell you the truth, we don't find skeletonized remains that often. We do find them, but it's more, we'll find in various stages of decomposition, which we will take into consideration as anthropologists. We are trained in anatomy and osteology, which is bones.
But from a screenwriting perspective, would all this determining of the age and
Yes.
ethnicity happen in the coroner's office? Where would this typical scenario take place?
We can actually do this in the very good question. We can actually do it anywhere. Is the broad answer. We can do it in the field. We have field measurement tapes. We have osteometric boards. We have for stature. If you find a whole decedent as compared to fragments, we have not yardsticks, but telescoping poles that can get some basic information in the field, so we can, because when you're trying to identify somebody, the first thing you need to know is how tall are they, what race are they, or ethnicity, are they white, are they black, are they Asian, are they mixed? We can tell some of these things by looking at the bones. Oh. We can tell some of these things by examining remains. Now, one thing that I always want to make clear in my classes, and I like to make clear here, is human remains are not what you see on TV. Human remains will start decomposing within a few hours, and within a day or two, unrecognizable as human beings sometimes, other than the fact that they're bipedal and there's a head on top. You don't see that on TV. They say, oh, this person's been dead 6 days, and they look like roses. They smell. The smell, the sickeningly sweet smell of human putrefaction, forensic anthropologies. So that's something for writers to take into consideration is maybe a strong reaction. Maybe somebody throws up. Maybe they throw up 3 or 4 times. My professor and I always agreed, throw up and then get in there and do it if you have to. There is no myth buster here. There is no stuff to put under your nose like in, again, Silence of the Lambs. I did a decomposition study with a deer once, and I put Vicks on my nose. You can smell everything because Vicks clears your sinuses real good. You think the strong smell would overdo it? No, you end up smelling more. But that's a tip that a writer could possibly use is, trial and error.
I walked into, I was a realtor for a while and walked into a house that was on a caravan, and all the agents became sick because it was a probate. And so I experienced that. And another time, like a coroner sticker was still on the door, and they had it listed. Things like that. What are some of the little signs that if someone was supposed to enter a property and the body had been removed, but things like that? The corner sticker, would there still be tape? Would there be, biohazard on the door? Like, what are some of the little things?
Biohazard, booties all over the place, footprints all over the place. As bodies decompose, they will have purge fluid, which is, if you get them within a day or two, they decompose. They turn into liquid, basically. That liquid can stain the carpet. It can stay on the counter. If it's not, hazmat hasn't come in and cleaned it yet, or even if they had, particularly carpet, it'll go into the padding. So you'd have to replace all the carpeting, particularly if you want to sell a house. My parents were real estate agents. I feel for you. What else can we tell writers? So there's metric and non-metric variations. I wish I could show them to you right now, but non-metric is the fun ones. We have a rule of thumb. You ever had sciatica? Run from the back of your from your lower back, and then there's pain all the way down the back of your leg?
Not yet, hopefully.
Okay. That's called sciatica. There's a sciatic nerve. Mm-hmm. In the human pelvis, there's a sciatic notch. And we have something called a rule of thumb. If your thumb just kind of fits in there, it's a female. It's a male. And if you can move it around, it's a female. Because the female's pelvic girdle spreads, so the notch becomes wider. It's much more effective when I play with Fred back here in the side. But we call it the rule of thumb. So there's something that a writer can play with there. But there are non-metric variations that you can look up. I highly recommend starting at the University of Tennessee Knoxville's website for their anthropology. That's where the body farm, one of the body farms, but there are many of them. But that's where the body farms was started. But start with their anthropology department, and they have links, and you can find all sorts of stuff.